Hey guys, it's Hannah, and today I am doing my March wrap-up and April TBR. So March wasn't the best reading month for me. I read a total of 3 books. 2 I read, 1 I listened to. So that's pretty bad for me. But well, I'll explain. Part of the reason that I didn't read a whole lot this month was because I had my wisdom teeth out and I had a lot of stuff due, and I still have a lot of stuff due, and I was also trying to read that big, huge, ginormous book called Alexander Hamilton, which, by the way, did not happen. Oops. So I could finish it in time for my research paper, which I'm still finishing up my research paper, which is due in like 2 or 3 days. I'm not done yet because I'm writing too much. It's a problem. I put off reading other books to read Alexander Hamilton. I didn't even finish Alexander Hamilton. Yeah, I just didn't read a whole lot. But enough of all the sad talk because I didn't read a whole lot. Here's what I did read. The first book I read in the month of March was The Heart of Betrayal by Mary E. Pearson, and I got this from our library, and I knew when it came out, and I was going to buy it when it came out, but then I just never did, and then I kept waiting to put it on hold because I was reading other stuff, and then at one point I had it on hold, but then I forgot to go get it. Oops. So then I had to put it on hold again and wait again. But then I finally got it, and I finally read it, and it was so good. That whole world is so complex and just so cool, and she does a great job of writing it. She does a great job of writing her characters. Strong female characters. I am telling you, this book was amazing. So good. And I love just being back in the world. It was one of those books where it's a while since you've read the last one and you read the next one, you're just like, yes! Because you're so happy to be back into that world. It was one of those books. It was just so great. So great. Loved it. Loved it. I'm doing a lot with this with my hands. I'll stop now. Loved it. The next book was a read aloud, and it was Rush Revere and the Star-Spangled Banner by Rush Limbaugh. And for those of you who know, Rush Limbaugh is a talk show host, and he talks about politics and stuff. And he has a little series that's basically self-inserted fan fiction, and he is the main character, and he has a time-traveling horse that can go back in time to certain events in history. And he's a history teacher, so he takes some of his students back in time with him to teach them about these events, and then while you're reading about their adventures, you learn about the events. So it's one of those kinds of ways to learn about something, but in a fun way, aka Hamilton. Hamilton, guys. But yeah, so this book, it was good. It was really good. They're not like amazing books, but they're not like bad books. They're just, good fun reads, and of course very educational. That's always a plus. So if you are learning about the American Revolution, or if you have a kid who's learning about the American Revolution, or you just want to know more about the American Revolution, aside from all that Alexander Hamilton did, because let's face it, most of us know that story perfectly by now, then I highly suggest you pick up this series. This is actually the 4th book in the series, and they're probably something you don't really have to read in order, but there are certain things that makes more sense if you read in order. So I would suggest reading in order, but you don't necessarily absolutely have to, if that makes sense. The last book I read in the month of March was A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, and this book was so great. It is about the French Revolution, and it's kind of hard to describe because it goes from all these different things, and I can't really explain all the things without spoiling some things. So just know it's about the French Revolution, and you should most definitely read it. It starts a bit slow. It does start a bit slow, but it kind of has to build up what's going to happen, and then the ending is just, it's great. That's just the best way to describe it. It is great. It is probably my favorite Charles Dickens I've read so far. So I highly recommend, if you haven't read A Tale of Two Cities, which you probably have if you're in high school because they usually assign it, but if you haven't for some reason, you should definitely go pick it up and read it because it is great. So that is it for my March wrap-up, which is very sad if you ask me. Only 3 books came out. Oh my gosh. But now we're going to go into my April TBR. So the first book I want to read, I'm actually currently reading, and that is Persuasion by Jane Austen. Now, if you watched my March TBR, then you know that this was the book that my cousin and I were going to buddy read for the month of March. I'm not done. So, but don't worry, she's not done either, so we're both in the same boat with that. So I'm going to finish it this month. Yes, I'm going to finish it this month. It's kind of sad. This is only our second book to read and we're already both behind on it. But anyway, this is one I don't really know what it's about exactly, but I know it's Jane Austen and I know I'm gonna love it. And it's really good so far, so. The next book I want to read in the month of April is the one that my cousin and I are planning on buddy reading for April, along with, you know, our one for March, because we're both slackers. And that is Daddy Longlegs by Jean Webster. Now, I'm not sure exactly what this is about, but from what I understand, it's about an orphan girl who gets sponsored by some man or guy or something like that to go to this finishing school or some kind of school for girls. And his one condition is that she writes letters to him. And so I think the whole book is just their letters going back and forth. And that sounds really interesting. I actually heard about this when we read Dear Pen Pal, which is one of the Mother-Daughter Book Club books, which if you haven't read that series, definitely should. Mother-Daughter Book Club, Heather Vaughter Frederick. Go look it up and read it. It's good. But anyway, so that's why I heard about this book, and when we were making our list of books to read, we were like, hey, might as well read it. So this is our April read for my cousin and I, and hopefully we'll actually finish it in the month of April. That would be nice. The last book I have in my stack is The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, and this is going to be my next school book, and since it's very short, I'm pretty sure I'll be finishing it in the month of April, but it depends on how my curriculum spaces out, how many chapters I read per week and that sort of thing, so I might not, but considering how short it is, I'm pretty sure I will. But we'll see. I don't know. But I will at least be starting it in April. And like I said in some past videos, I don't really know what this is about, but I do know it kind of made the idea of time travel popular. And that gets me excited for it because time travel is such a cool concept. So I'm hoping I'll enjoy it, and we'll see if I enjoy it. Now, I'm hoping to read more than just those 3 books that I showed you, but I don't really know what I want to read, so that's why I'm not holding anything up. I just don't know what I want to read. I mean, I might reread High Society, I'm not sure. I might read An Ember in the Ashes, I've been wanting to read that for a while. I might read Red Queen, I might read some of those historical fiction books I've been wanting to read. I don't know what I'll be in the mood for, so that's why I'm not showing you any other books, because I'm not sure what I'll be in the mood for when the time comes to pick a new book. So, you will find out whatever I was in the mood for next month, but for now, it's a mystery to everybody. It's a mystery. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see y'all again in another one soon.